Labor trafficking. We're getting a lot of calls from clients all over the country where there are students, those who are in OPT or a CPT, the employers, most of the employers are desis in America. When they're running an IT consulting company, they're sponsoring students for OPTs or CPTs or even filing H-1Bs. And they're providing guest houses, making a resume, trying to get them a job. See, what is happening in the country that these employers, those who have a power of sponsoring them, are committing offenses, and these are called labor trafficking. What is, there are two types of trafficking. One is called human trafficking, second is called labor trafficking. Human trafficking is you basically bring people into the country unlawfully and you're trying to circumvent the immigration law. What does it mean? That means you're bringing sometimes people into the country without a visa or sometimes with a visa on a false pretext. The labor trafficking, what does it mean by labor trafficking? Let's say somebody was illegally entered into the country. In this situation, we take as a student, and the students have come to pursue their master's degree, and they're all looking for an employer who can give them a CPT offer letter and who are willing to give OPTs by giving a training plan, and these companies have to be e-verified company. What is the meaning of e-verified company? These are electronically verified by the immigration, and these companies, they get an e-verified number. So only those companies are authorized to give a job offer for somebody who's on a CPT, somebody who's on an OPT, and even file an H-1B. So when people are filing multiple H-1Bs, and that's unlawful, and we have spoken about that in earlier videos, but what is happening when they file an H-1B and your H-1B gets picked up? So now, because students who are being in the country for a longer time, they do one master's, and if their H-1 doesn't picked up, they go and file another H-1B from another company, but finally your H-1B gets picked up. And now, because you've been trying for 2 to 3 times, and you're doing 2 masters, and you're doing a third of masters but PhDs, they're trying to maintain their immigration status in the country lawfully. So what's going to happen when you get your H-1B picked up? Obviously, you think that you're grateful to the employer. So what these employers are doing, they're doing labor trafficking. What does it mean? They're doing unlawful things by doing recruiting. What they do, they fabricate the resume, and they will also do, somebody else will be attending your interviews. They give you fake references, and somebody else will attend your interview. It's called proxies. All these unlawful things are being done by the employers. This is called labor trafficking. Labor trafficking means they're trying to get you a job, and once you get a job, and they're also giving you sometimes 2 jobs to do it, and they don't pay you money. First thing is they have to put you on a payroll, and you're not authorized to do a second job when you're on H-1B. But what the employers are doing, even during the COVID time, because they were staying at home and you're not going to the client, so you're doing both 2 jobs. In doing 2 jobs, the employer is trying to push the system, and they're evading the tax, not paying the income tax to the tax authorities in America, and they're giving the money in India or overseas, or they're even depositing in somebody else's account, or they're using somebody else's social security number to run a payroll, or even deposit in somebody else's account. This is called money laundering, a very serious offense. So on the top of it, sometimes when the employers are not paying the employees, they're saying, oh, we will pay you, later. And some of the clients are calling us and saying that, yes, we have done 2 jobs, sometimes 3 jobs, and the employer is not paying us for the second job or even the first job or the third job. So they owe us $80,000, they owe $100,000. This is called labor trafficking. You're making the H-1B employee as a victim, number one. Number two, you're perpetrating the fraud in the government. Number three, you're committing an immigration fraud. Number four, sometimes when they're women employees, the employers are even demanding sex and asking for sexual favors. And if they don't do it, these women, they're being victimized, and these employers are committing sexual offenses, and these poor girls, poor women who are in the country on an H-1B, they're being victimized, and they're not able to report to the government, and these employers are saying, if you report, we won't pay you the money, first of all, and we will terminate your H-1B. And this is a serious offense. You can report to the police. You can also report to the Department of Labor. This is also amounts to a visa fraud, and this also amounts to a felony, which is a criminal offense as per the federal laws. And if you're committing sexual offenses of even asking your employees to show sexual favors on the video calls, sending text messages, inappropriate text messages to the women, and asking them for sexual favors. And if you're a married woman, or if you're an unmarried woman, and if you're having a boyfriend, sometimes even if you have a husband, they're blackmailing them. They're saying, we will let your husband know or your boyfriend know. If they're dating somebody, they're saying, oh, we will let your boyfriend know that you should not marry him. And they're asking all of this. Sometimes these employers are also even calling them to meet them in the hotels, and they're also asking them to come to different places to get some sexual favors. I mean, this is a very serious offense in this country, and we are getting some calls, and this amounts to labor trafficking. And if you're subjected to such violence or sexual assault or sexual abuse, and sometimes even slurs, they're sending text messages or even voice messages on the WhatsApp, or even emails, and even on the regular phone calls, you can record such conversations. If you report to the immigration, if you report to the law enforcement agencies, the employers will not only go to jail, but the companies will be closed. And the other major issues we come across, the employers are not paying the payroll taxes. They're not paying employees. And many employers, they even got loans during the COVID time, PPT loans, and a lot of benefits they got it from the federal government to pay salaries to the employees. And they fail to pay all this money which they get from the federal government. So they're subjected to serious offenses. And if the employers are committing such serious felonies, they will definitely, if you report to them, you can report to the Department of Justice. You can also report to the immigration. You can also report to the police, law enforcement guys. You can also report to the Attorney General, and there are 100 agencies you can report to them. And you can also report to the ICE, Immigration and Custom Enforcement. So guys, if you do all of that, and if the government starts investigation, and you will be victimized, and you can also apply for a victim visa, whereby you can also get green card. So don't use this for your personal benefits, for getting a green card, because if you make a frivolous complaint that amounts to malicious prosecution, you could be in trouble too, because you can't move a criminal machinery in motion in United States, because we're all coming from other parts of the world. When you do this in India or Bangladesh or Pakistan or any of these developing nations, it's nothing. But if you give a frivolous complaint, if you're filing a malicious and false complaint in this country, you'll be in trouble. Please collect all the evidences if you have anything like that. If the employers are not paying you, and if the employers are doing undue influence, if they're doing a coercion, if they're threatening you, saying that if you report, we will terminate your H-1B, we will send you back into the country, and if they say that we will not pay you salaries, and if they say that we will report to different agencies, and if they infringe your privacy, if they're sending text messages, any inappropriate gestures sometimes when you go and see the employers in their offices and they're speaking to you privately, and if they're making any sexual advances for women, And in that case, if the employers are not paying you, and if they're doing any of this, committing all these offenses, please report to the government. And you can also contact some local attorneys who practice criminal law and immigration law. You have some remedies. Don't get scared, because we're getting a lot of these calls for past few months after COVID. We're getting a lot of calls. So guys, this is very useful for the H-1B guys and for students who are on a CPTs or OPTs. And even if you're on a second or third time doing master's programs or doing a PhD programs, and if you're faced any of these situations, get in touch with some competent lawyers and report to the government. Then you have some remedies in this country. And on the top of it, you have a criminal remedy as against such employers, and you also have a civil remedy as well for filing damages. You could be emotionally distressed. You could lose money because they're not paying you in time. They're not paying payroll taxes. Sometimes they deduct insurance in premiums and they don't give you an insurance cover. Sometimes you have accidents. Sometimes you don't have a medical insurance. And even sometimes they even charge you for H-1Bs, and they even charge you for filing perm processing and for green card I-140. If the employers are doing any deduction of all these expenses for filing a visa, that amounts to unlawful deductions. And many times the employees, they come up to us and they ask us that my employer has deducted my salary for filing visa, for the H-1B visa or transfer of H-1B, or even for amendment of H-1B, sometimes even for perm processing or for I-140 processing. They're charging government fees and attorney fees. Guys, this is a very, very sensitive information. Please share it with friends and family. This will be very useful. But because by listening to this video, don't take an advantage and make false and frivolous complaints as against employers. And my object and my motive is not to speak as against the employers, but employers are also committing unfair trade practices. This amounts to an unfair trade practice, and you can also complain to the FTC's Federal Trade Practices Commission. You can also complain to the Attorney Generals. You can also complain to the Department of Justice, and you can also complain to the attorneys, district attorneys of that state, immigration, and to the Department of Labor. So this is and other law enforcement agencies. So guys, don't consider this as a legal advice. This is only for the information purposes. And if you have any of these scenarios, get in touch with some competent lawyers in your jurisdiction. And we're not trying to solicit business by doing this video and information, because we are only doing these videos because our firm is getting a lot of those calls from all over the country. And sometimes we're also getting calls that employers have filed multiple applications, multiple H-1B registrations, and they're getting a notice to intent to deny or revocation of H-1Bs. And if you're not committed any offense, or if you're not corroborated with your employers, then you have some remedies of filing T visas. We have done a video earlier. If you want to have, please get in touch if you need any consultation with our firm, and you can see the number rolling. We are in Manhattan. We are open Monday to Saturday. First consultations, we'll give it to you for a little time. And if you are interested in retaining us, get in touch with us. And if you really like this video, please share with your friends and family. Subscribe to our channel, and we're going to come up with a lot of videos like this for educational purposes only. And this is again doesn't constitute to attorney and client relationship, and this does not constitute to privileged communication. Don't assume this as a legal advice. This is only for information purposes only. Thank you very much, and see you again.